Yeah, that's very interesting. And just looking at what Darkness has, since his German deck is banned, his only option is his USA ramp deck, which struggles against any sort of aggro. And then he has a Brit, kind of like a British, maybe like a mid-range control deck with a lot of value units like the Kitty Hawk and the Mosquito and Carpet Bomb, which would do better against Germany, Japan. um, he doesn't know which deck Lucky Spike's going to play first. So it's kind of like you have to kind of roll the dice there. Um, and then Soviet USA from Lucky Spike, it looks just very kind of like a standard Soviet value deck. It has the Bloody Sickle Zukov with Parade and Heroes of the Soviet Union and New Theaters of War card, which lets you pick one of three Soviet elites and put in your hand. But things like the KV-1, the Joseph Stalin Naval Brigade, and for the U.S. ally, we have Mobilization for Card Draw Corsair, and then the big bomber value package with the Avenger and the two B-17. So pretty solid deck. I
What's
think
the
the Soviet. Oh, go ahead.
what's the elite card that replaces your unit with the 2 cost higher? It's called. It's not the same effect as Ural, but
Oh, Ural. Yeah, yes.
Red
Red
Banner.
Banner.
Yeah. So
Red Banner. Oh, yeah.
he's not running a red banner in here, which I think is pretty interesting. And uh, I'd have to ask, is that just because he doesn't have that card yet? And I think that's pretty interesting to see a player, if he's missing, a pretty core elite card there that can really change the tide of the game,
Hmm.
all the way to semifinals of this tournament with this deck. So I'm really excited to see how is Lucky Spike playing these decks, so he's been able to post these results against all these players that probably have full collections or close to it.
Right, right. And just one more point on the Euro factories. Um, what I'm thinking they're in here for, because there's two Euro factories, right? And there's two B-17s. So a combo that I see a lot of the time is they'll play the B-17 Flying Fortress,
Hmm.
kill an opponent unit, and then they Euro factories the B-17, and guess what he gets out of that? A
Pershing.
Pershing. Yes. So and then you do it with full credits, only one credit to Ural, and then you have enough to blitz your Pershing into the front and hit HQ or take out any unit you want.
It's actually
So that's a
pretty interesting.
very slick combo. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see that. And that would also make sense that he was running Euro factories over Red Banner there, because that wouldn't work with Red Banner.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I think we have some pretty interesting decks here. What about his Germany Japan deck? What does that look like? Anything special there? Anything new?
So yeah, looking at Germany, Japan. Okay, wow. So this is it's surprising. I thought it was going to be more aggressive, but it really is more of like a mid-range deck, mid-range
Yeah.
to later in the game, um, with value cards like the FW 190A. It's a 6 credit 5/5 fighter that draws you a card.
Yep.
Um, Things like he does have the Nashub with Flame Panzer and Nebelwerfer package to kind of gain some free credits from destroying enemy units. And then he kind of tops out into things like the Admiral Hipper, the Comet, Bismarck, and Leopold, alongside with some nice guards with the Kagoshima, or no, sorry, with the Takasagi and the Kagoshima to prevent enemy life gain. So very interesting deck, and double Empire the Sun as well to refill the hand.
I haven't seen this deck before, like this type of deck. Normally I feel like if we're seeing these German value decks, we see more like Tigers and stuff in there. More of the maybe Panzer VI with the retreat in there. But this is going to be a
Yeah.
really interesting deck to see played here. Well, no, actually, it wasn't banned, so it's going to be really interesting to see this deck being played here.
Yeah,
Really?
there's like no draw denial either. Nothing like Wolfpack or Annihilation or
No.
Panther A. Usually this deck sometimes we even play like a Panther G, uh, as like a 6/5 heavy armor can't be targeted by
Yeah.
enemy orders, and that combos well with the Nashub. Since it has a 3 operation cost, it really it gives you a nice break on operation cost there.
Wow, I'm really excited to see this deck being played. Because I'm not even sure how it's actually going to be played. It's interesting to me that there's no Kriegsmarine in here because he's running the Bismarck, and it seems like he
Mhm.
has a little bit of like reach for the damage, with the Comet and the Bismarck, but there might just not be room in the deck for it. Really.
Yeah, and I do notice one last thing. There's 2 Sendais in there. So
Yeah.
let's hope Lucky Spike does not Sendai himself out of this match.
Yeah. All right, and here we
Here
are
we go.
with your first semifinal of the first ever Cards Open. Lucky Spike taking on the veteran Darkness, USA versus Russia, Soviet Russia, Moscow there, with the headquarters with the cool new theaters of war, a winter board. I really like this board. It's one of my favorites.
The squishing of the ants is not your favorite?
I really like squishing the ants. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
All right, so we have Lucky Spike here, already playing out his little infantry unit that's going to give him some health, getting out the Cuban Cossacks, taking the front line early. Nothing really in Darkness's hand to respond right away, but getting the Surrey Regiment out there, avoiding some damage. This is the Soviet deck. Again, Lucky Spike bringing 2 very, very interesting decks. I'm really excited to see what happens with that Soviet deck.
Yeah, I really enjoy seeing people bring kind of unusual decks against these very seasoned veteran players, because sometimes they can get a little stuck in their ways and not really think about these very unorthodox decks, and kind of catches them with their guard down.
Yeah. 50th motors there, down there, preventing damage to the HQ on the enemy turn. But Darkness on the other end is just ramping. He's ramping. He's played 2 ramp cards already, a War Bonds and a War Production, so he's gonna have 8 credits next turn. He can play the Seaborne Invasion next turn if he wants to.
Yeah, the economy is looking great for Darkness here, and Lucky Spike just really is kind of has just air in his hand. Nothing a lot. The Bloody Sickle, the Euro Factory is really kind of a dead card unless he has the B-17. Because I'm 99% sure that's really the only thing he wants to be Euroling.
Yeah, I think so as well. And it doesn't really make sense for him to Euro anything else on this board at the moment. No real pressure. I was kind of nervous that he would play another unit, seeing his credits there, but which would have made the Seaborne Invasion push something back all the way to his hand, but decided not to do that. What do you want to see Darkness do here?
Yeah, just looking at the board here, I think it's a fine Seaborne Invasion, but that's kind of the gamble play, which I tend to do. But Dargus is playing it safe here, just getting down another guard, buffing the HP. I think that's
True.
right. I think that's right here.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good draw there for Lucky Spike getting the We Can Do It, and be able to play that on this board. It's going to help him out a lot.
Yeah, I mean it negates the carpet bomb right in Darkness's hand.
Yeah.
Such an efficient counter to carpet bomb, um, and it's B-17 is a nice top deck for Lucky Spike here, definitely.
Oh, for Darkness, you mean?
Oh, for Darkness, excuse me. Yeah, really, really
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, that was also probably the best target that he could have hit there. Apart from maybe that 0-7 unit in the back line, it would have been good to get rid of that. But getting the guard out there is pretty good.
And this is really shaping up to be sort of a war of attrition here. I'm really, really interested to see how these players are going to navigate this matchup and really try to maximize each and every card and get maximum value, because I think whoever can do that the most efficiently is going to end up winning this game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And ooh, airstrike, air defense might bring a lot of value here. Um, Definitely as well with the baiting of the P40. I think he's gonna run that Avenger straight into that P40.
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, it does look like a great target. But the thing when you're playing at this high level, you gotta have these countermeasures on your radar at all times.
Yeah,
Really,
I mean, when you look at that, it's almost like, there's 2 credits left that Darkness didn't play, and you gotta be thinking like, surely there's something. There's
pretty
something.
obvious.
He's giving me that P40 on a silver plate. Using the Euro there on the tank spawned by the airborne there. It's
Wow.
pretty
So he
interesting.
got he so the 5.5, I think it's called the 17th rifles.
Yeah.
Um, that's an interesting drop out of the Euro factories. I'll have to see. That's another new Theaters of War card from the Russia expansion. 5.5 that heals itself to full and gives itself +1/+1 at the start of your turn, right?
Yeah, and that could be pretty significant because it does have smokescreen and it's currently living in his backline, right? Um, and it is something that, yeah, it does repair itself, which means that even if it survives the carpet bomb, it's going to be able to continue to be massive. Um, what I'm most interested in is that he did have the B-17 in hand, but he opted on using the Euro factories on that. So that makes me, question if he's running them to use them on that tank and the Siberian transfer tank.
Right. And I don't understand playing the Hellcat here. Maybe he forgot if
No,
the opponent has a P40 out.
I think
A
so.
lot of the time, I think Hellcat is at its best in this matchup where opponent plays like a naked Avenger, and then you play your Hellcat and you get to eat it for free, right?
Yeah,
You're 4-2 into a 4-4 bomber. Um, and interesting, so he's deciding to lose smokescreen and push the 6.6 into the front where it can essentially just be traded for a Black Watch, right? He trades 6 HP on the Grenadier Guards plus the Black Watch. I think that's an
yeah,
excellent trade for Darkness.
yeah. I think this is a great trade for Darkness. Even choosing to keep the Black Watch alive there, just opting for the carpet bomb. I think that's really good. And playing another Black Watch, which is going to further bump up the cost of the orders in the hands for Lucky Spike. Look at that 6 credit cost heroes of the Soviet Union.
So
Feels
interesting.
bad.
So he can bloody sickle the P40 and
Yeah, critical hit.
direct hit or critical hit.
He's got the armor train to play next turn. I would play the I-15 now. Yeah, get that out there.
Yeah. I
Gets
mean,
the armor train
Lucky
out.
Spike, he has gas. He has gas in his hand, even though he kind of set himself up for some bad trades. So we'll have to see if.
I I'm not sure he's going to be able to deal with the next turn from Darkness. Darkness is going to draw 4 cards next turn and have 16 credits. He's just going to be able to do so much. And he has that Seaborn Invasion in hand to bail him out of any potential issues brought to him by Lucky Spike. Um, look at this.
Yeah.
He needs to spend half his turn um, playing the heroes of the Soviet Union. you know,
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I guess he had 11 credits, so he could. I probably would have gotten something like the Corsair down. Instead,
yeah.
it trades well into the Black Watches. It also can just trade with the Grenadier Guards and then get a 2-for-1 with the destruction effect.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
'Cause
Lucky Spike is
the
maybe Lucky Spike is feeling a little bit, okay at the moment because he does have some good cards in hand, so he does have 40 HP on his HQ and doesn't feel the pressure as much. But I think he's in a pretty tough spot now.
Yeah, I mean, you can have all the HP you want, but at the end of the day, if you're out of cards and your opponent has all their cards still, you're gonna, you're still gonna lose.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the good news for Lucky Spike at the moment is that, you know, Darkness doesn't have in hand everything he needs to finish the game at the moment. He does have a pretty strong hand, and he does have some card draw there, but he still has to play a little bit to get there. For me, what's the most worrying? Ouch. Well, actually, that's
Hmm.
not too bad for him.
I
He
think
kind of
that I
wants to.
think that's okay. I think that was the best one because
Yeah.
it's kind of done its job. Okay, big special delivery here.
Oof. Another carbon bomb.
Harbor bomb off the top. Bomber kills that. The naval brigade move up. Yeah, it's not looking great.
The Lucky Spike doesn't have anything. He doesn't have any mass AoE clearance, right? It's really difficult for him to.
No,
Yeah.
and that's
So
the
you get
thing with running Soviet with USA. There's they really have no AOE damage. USA has strategic bombing, but it's an elite, right? So you can't run it.
yeah.
Soviets really don't have anything.
So what I want to say here is what I really like to see when people play the motor rifles there, the 1.5 that's guarding the HQ, is don't have it guard your HQ. Leave a unit in between, and I know it's not likely to trick Darkness, but um, the immunity to the HQ can sometimes draw an attack onto the HQ, and so you can kind of trick people with the 15th motor rifles.
Yes, I've heard tell of stories of people commonwealthing the opponent's HQ while they have a motor rifles out and doing zero damage.
I've done that. I'm not proud of it, but I've done it.
It's kind of a card that you can kind of sometimes forget about. You just see it as a 1/5 guard, but it's really a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Another special delivery off the top, just super efficient. 3 credits for 3 cards, and we
Just look at that
have the
strategic
strategic
planning.
planning.
Oh my god.
Gonna have an 8/8 Avenger, 6/6, 4/12, 2/8s.
I mean, I think it's unfortunate to say at this point, but I really don't see a way back in this game for Lucky Spike. I think he would have to pull off something absolutely exceptional to be able to get back into this game at this point. Just given the pure board pressure that Darkness has. I mean, look at that. He's got 2 Fury units in the front line. That's 2/8, right? Just between them, that's 8 damage face every single turn. Um, it's way too much on the board for him to deal with at the moment, and I don't see anything that can help him. Right? He can only play one of the cards in his hand at the moment. He can play the Corsair, or the USS Stalin, or the Avenger. He can't play 2 of any of those cards.
It's going for the Avenger play. Ooh, that's a good hit.
Yeah, really, really good hit. But again, look at what Darkness has in hand. He's able to play the B-17 and attack with all his units because he's got 18 credits.
Yeah, again, Warbond's really shining in these games so far. I've been kind of put off on the card myself, but I don't know. After these games, I'm really gonna have to take another look at it.
That was 24 HP taken off the Moscow HQ in that turn. The first rifles is not going to be enough to save you, given that the B-17 is out there. Well, high altitude bombing, boop. That's unfortunate, and that is GG. Darkness is going to be taking home game number 1 against Lucky Spike in this first semifinals of the first Cards Open. Excellent play there from Darkness. I don't think he really made a misplay that game. I think Lucky Spike was in a little bit more of a difficult spot, just from the decks that they were bringing to the table. Um, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it could have gone either way in the beginning there. But there was a few kind of crucial turns in there where I think Lucky Spike he overcommitted to the board into Darkness's Carpet Bomb with the Hellcat, and maybe forgetting about the P40 and then also getting hit with air defense as well, not playing around that either, um, and not getting the Corsair down early enough to sort of fight off a lot of this kind of go wide strategy that Darkness was doing.
Yeah.
I think cost him that game.
Yeah, I think, you know what, having watched these games just today so far and played quite a bit in the past few weeks, I honestly think P40 might be one of the best cards in the game.
Yeah, it's very very strong. Really, just the effect that it has on the economy of the opponent, and it kind of that people don't play around that effect as much either. You can really get some people.
Yeah, and I mean, just getting it out on an empty board means that it's going to be so difficult for your opponent to play a unit and then kill it, right? It just really chokes him out. Um, but I think